Imagine for a second you finally achieved that one massive goal you have been chasing for years. You sacrificed your sleep, your weekends, and your peace of mind to get it. Naturally, you share the news with the people closest to you, expecting them to smile, to hug you, or at least to be happy for you. But instead, you're met with a chilling shift in the room. A tight, forced smile that doesn't reach their eyes. A sudden, awkward change of subject, or worse, a subtle, passive-aggressive remark disguised as a joke. According to the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, when you elevate your life, you accidentally commit a social crime. You break the shared illusion of comfort. Nietzsche believed that human beings are deeply driven by what he called the will to power, an innate desire to feel strong and in control of their environment. When you succeed, you don't just win, you unconsciously alter the power dynamics around you. And there are certain silent behaviors from others that you must learn to recognize if you want to protect your personal power. Number 5 is the one that almost everyone tolerates, but which silently drains your self-worth and makes you doubt your own achievements. 1. When someone immediately attributes your success to pure luck. You stay up until dawn building a business, or you spent months sacrificing your personal life to land a major promotion. When you share the victory, they casually remark about how lucky you got, or how you were simply in the right place at the right time. This behavior happens because human psychology cannot easily cope with a direct contrast between effort and stagnation. If they admit that you succeeded through raw discipline, they are forced to admit that their own lack of success is a result of their own lack of discipline. To protect their fragile ego from this painful realization, they rewrite your entire journey into a lottery win. It is human nature to protect our self-image at all costs, even if it means diminishing a friend's blood, sweat, and tears. The practical lesson here is to stop defending your work ethic. When someone calls you lucky, look them in the eye, agree with them completely, and leave them to wonder why luck never seems to visit them. 2. When they use subtle humor to pull you back down. This is the friend who waits until you are in a group setting to bring up an old embarrassing mistake, or who makes a sarcastic joke about your new lifestyle. At first glance, it feels like harmless teasing, but over time, you realize these remarks only happen when you are getting attention or respect from others. Ridiculing you in public is a calculated, low-risk way for an insecure person to regain the upper hand socially. It is a primitive display of power dynamics meant to remind the group that you are still the person you used to be. If you laugh along just to avoid conflict, you are reinforcing the behavior and giving them permission to slowly erode your reputation. Nietzsche observed that a strong individual commands the terms of their own respect. The moment someone wraps an insult in a laugh, do not laugh back. Silence is a devastating response to a desperate joke. 3. When they suddenly become too busy to celebrate your milestones. You notice a strange pattern where the people who were always available when your life was a mess suddenly disappear when things are going incredibly well. They text you weeks later with dry, generic congratulations, or they completely avoid the topic altogether. They pull away because your presence has become a living, breathing social comparison that they cannot escape. Every time they look at your progress, they are reminded of the goals they abandoned and the promises they broke to themselves. Human beings naturally seek equilibrium, and when your growth disrupts the comfortable status quo of a relationship, their coping mechanism is to create distance. The lesson you must internalize is that some people only love you when you are struggling because it makes them feel superior. Let them walk away. Your elevation requires a circle that can handle the altitude. 4. When they minimize your achievements by comparing them to something bigger. You announce that you finally bought your first home, and instead of celebrating, they immediately talk about a celebrity who bought a mansion, or how the housing market is about to crash. They introduce this behavior to instantly neutralize the emotional intelligence and excitement of your moment. The psychology behind it is a deep-seated defense mechanism known as leveling. If they cannot raise themselves to your level, They must mentally shrink your achievement until it looks small enough to fit into their worldview. It is a tragic flaw of human nature to believe that someone else's light makes our own darkness look dimmer. The practical lesson is to strictly ration your good news. Stop casting your pearls before those who only want to trample them to feel relevant. But the next behavior is the most dangerous because it comes disguised as absolute loyalty and care. When they offer weaponized concern to make you doubt your path. This is the behavior almost everyone tolerates because it feels like love. The moment you share a bold, ambitious plan, they look at you with deep, performance-level sympathy and say, "Are you sure you want to take that risk? I just don't want to see you get hurt." Or, "Don't get your hopes up too high." They cloak their sabotage in the language of protection. Why do they do this? Because if you take the leap and actually succeed, it shatters the excuses they have used to stay safe and comfortable their entire lives. They are projecting their own terror of failure on your courage. Nietzsche fiercely criticized what he called the morality of weakness, a state of mind where people try to pasteurize greatness and turn fear into a virtue. The lesson here is absolute. Never take advice on how to fly from people who are terrified of heights. Thank them for their concern and move forward anyway. 6. When they instantly hijack your victory to talk about their own trauma, you share that you just hit a major health goal or financial milestone, and within 3 seconds, they pivot the conversation to their own chronic stress, their bad boss, or their exhausting week. They don't just change the subject, they emotionally hijack the atmosphere. This happens because their ego is entirely addicted to the currency of attention. They cannot tolerate a reality where the spotlight shines on someone else's victory, so they use their struggles as a tool to reclaim control of the dynamic. Human nature craves significance, but when a person can only find significance through sympathy, they will naturally resent anyone who finds it through success. The lesson is simple. Your wins are not a stage for their self-pity. Keep your wins close to your chest and invest your energy into people who possess the emotional maturity to give you your moment. 7. When they show sudden, exaggerated flattery that feels performative. This is the person who becomes your biggest cheerleader overnight, loudly praising you to everyone who will listen, almost to an unnatural degree. While it feels good initially, you eventually notice that their praise feels hollow, or that they use your success to brag about their association with you. This behavior is a subtle form of opportunism. By attaching their identity to your win, they try to absorb some of your social currency without doing any of the work. The psychology here is a parasitic adjustment to power dynamics. They are riding your wave to elevate their own self-worth. If you accept this blind flattery, you become blind to the inevitable moment they turn on you when the wind changes. True respect is quiet, consistent, and grounded. Be wary of the applause that is louder than the work required to earn it. Navigating a world where your growth invites secret hostility requires a profound mindset shift. You must realize that the loneliness that often accompanies success is not a design flaw. It is a critical screening process. It is the filter that strips away the superficial bonds and exposes who is actually matching your stride. Understand the human psychology at play here. When people resent your success, it is almost never truly about you. It is a silent, bitter war they are waging against their own unexpressed potential. Your job is not to fix their insecurities or to make your life smaller so they can feel comfortable. Your job is to embody stoicism. You cannot control the quiet envy of the crowd, but you can absolutely control your proximity to it. Do not allow your self-worth to be dictated by the fragile egos of those who chose comfort over courage. True personal power is born the moment you accept that you don't owe anyone a smaller version of yourself. Let them keep their resentment, and you keep your distance.